Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago. 224 446. Come on, baby, now get your business fixed. Come on, honey, don't you.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine. I am your co-host, Avi Myers, and we are here with, my name in the print. Wow, is that exciting? We're actually here live at Chicago Access right now. My co-host is Jim Nally, famous from James P. Nally, LLC. And we want to thank James P. Nally, LLC, for giving you permission today to to be our live guest. We're going to have all sorts of interesting people calling in. The tentative schedule right now is we will have President Terry O'Brien of the Water Reclamation District calling in, Tom Dart, candidate for sheriff, calling in, Larry Suffredin, Commissioner of Cook County. Now, the real attraction, by the way, is we are scheduled to have both county board presidential candidates, both Tony Pareca, the Republican, and Todd Stroger, the Democrat, calling in today. We also have Jesse White, the Secretary of State, scheduled to call in, and we might have another surprise or two. The reason you saw Marty's picture in the beginning is we were hoping that, well, if you've seen my regular show, we always start with Marty, so we had to start with Marty. What can I tell you? Anyway, Jim, how you doing today?
I'm doing
well.
Pleasure
to see you.
It's great to be here, Avi. I very much enjoy the live show. We often appear on tape, and all our mistakes can be edited out. So here we're going to have to go live and live with whatever we put on the air.
That's true. If we say something awful, but they can be edited out, but I never do. Anybody who's watched the show kind of knows it's like the goose get to stay there. So tell us, we've got a bunch. Now, Jim, for those of you who don't know, is but considered by many to be the top election lawyer in the state of Illinois. And we have some definite things happening this year that are different. Now, first of all, registration. Can you still, if you're not registered to vote, can you still register?
Yes, and it's a big change. There have been a lot of changes made here in Illinois pursuant to the Help America Vote Act, which is a federal act. And in keeping with the spirit of that, whereas normally there'd be an absolute bar on voter registration for 30 days prior to the election, that's not the case anymore, and you can register right up to a couple weeks ahead of time. There are some restrictions then on how you cast a vote and where you cast a vote, but it's a big change in terms. So anybody who's watching here today, you're not too late. And
the place, for instance, you would go to register at places like City Hall. Can you register? Like, there's early voting stations this year, like at places like Warren Park and all that in my neighborhood. Are these places you can register also?
Well, early voting and registration are two different animals. So you would have to check with the Chicago Board of Elections in the city or the Cook County Clerk in suburban Cook about the registration issue. The early voting, though, both of them, and we'll talk a little later in the show about the various sites where you can go to actually cast a ballot right now as we're speaking.
That sounds good. Now, for those of you who don't know, in my spare time, I publish this thing called Jewish Chicago. And this is actually the spring issue, so let me cover up Eisendrath because he ain't going to be on the cover this time. Terry O'Brien probably, well, that's Judy Topinka. See, I'm doing left to right TV. Judy Topinka might be together with Blagojevich, we'll see. And Terry O'Brien also might be. But anyway, this is sort of what it looks like. You can see the Jewish Chicago banner. It's free. It's available everywhere. So, look for it. And, I'm going to start writing this as soon as we finish the show today. And, I'm going to be putting this out to press by Wednesday. So if you want anything in there, give me a call now. It is now a pleasure and privilege to give you our first call-in guest, who's the president of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, somebody who, if you watch the Northtown News Magazine, Thursdays 7:30 p.m., Friday 2:30 p.m. on Channel 19, you will see regularly Terry O'Brien. Terry, how are you today?
Good morning, Avi. Good morning, Jim.
Morning, Terry.
Pleasure to be on the show this morning. We're running unopposed, but it seems like everybody's looking past the November 7th election and onto the February elections. But I'm happy that you guys are having the show today so that you are letting the people know that there is election on November 7th, and a very important one.
Very important one. And as a matter of fact, in my opinion, and I've said this on the regular show, one of the most important things you can do is when you get down to Water Reclamation District, whether there's opposition or not, there's three different people running for 3 slots, but the one person that I've definitely made up my mind that I'm putting a check next to is for Terry O'Brien, or Terrence J. O'Brien on the ballot. And that, to me, is the one thing I've definitely decided along the water reclamation lines. And I'd also like to let our viewers know that this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. in Chicago, Channel 19, 8 o'clock in Evanston, Channel 6, and Monday in 35 north and northwest suburbs, they can see President Terry O'Brien, on our show. So, actually, it's a week from, I'm sorry, the Thursday before the election you're going to be on the show. So,
Appreciate it, Avi.
First of all, it's my pleasure. Let's talk about some of your accomplishments. This is 18 years so far?
This is 18 years. I'll be starting my 4th term. Of those 18 years, the last 10 years I've served as the president of this fine organization, thanks to the support and confidence of my colleagues on the board. As you're well aware of, we just finished the tunnel portion of our tunnel and reservoir plan this year, back in March. All 109 miles of tunnel are completed and operational. Another great thing that happened this year was the third of 3 bond rating agencies finally gave us a AAA bond rating, Standard & Poor's. I think we're only the 4th in the United States to ever have received that type of a bond rating from that particular agency. So we're proud of that.
And that is the highest rating that an agency can possibly have.
That is correct. When you're borrowing funds to make capital improvements to your facilities, normally you have to go out and sell the bonds, and part of the ratings are assessed to those bonds. And because we have a higher rating than a lower rating, then it means we can borrow money at a cheaper rate.
And I think it's also important to note that you are the only county agency within Cook County that lowered your tax rate this year.
Yes, we reduced our property tax levy for 2006 by 1%. I don't think there's another governmental agency within the county nor within the state that can say that. And that's something we're very proud of. We're very fiscally responsible in how we spend the taxpayers' dollars throughout this county.
Terry, I'd just like to ask you, with your election assured, can you tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to in your new term coming up?
Well, Jim, my election is assured because of your fine expertise, and I thank you publicly for that, as do my 2 running mates, Deborah Shore and Patricia Horton. But coming up in my new term, what we'll be focusing on most is, one, completing the reservoir portion of this tunnel and reservoir plan, but the other more important responsibility that we just received in November of 2004 by the General Assembly in Springfield is stormwater management. And we have set the county up into 6 watersheds, which local officials in those watershed areas, as well as environmental groups, are bringing ideas and different ways of dealing with stormwater problems in those particular regions. One of the things that we've just did this past Thursday is we've gone out with 3 contracts out of the 6 watersheds to start doing the planning for those particular watersheds. And the reason is that we're doing that is because most of the problems dealing with stormwater and flood management are regional and not just on a local level.
That's. I think it's important to point out too that of the, it's 108 miles of tunnel, 109 miles of tunnel approximately total that you constructed.
That's correct, Avi. 109 miles of tunnel. We just celebrated back in May the completion of those 109 miles of tunnel, and one of the engineers on staff brought down an article when this was first conceived back in 1976, and I was reading the article, and they said in 10 years this thing would be completed. However, we're 30 years out, and we finally completed it. But not any due failure to this agency. It's just that we're waiting for federal funding on this particular project.
Which a certain senator I do know kind of stopped for a decade or more.
Well, he didn't really like it, but when one of my previous colleagues on the board had a couple busloads of seniors go to Washington to explain to them that their basement's flooded, I guess he mentioned that he lost the Persian rug in the flooding, so and they lost all their belongings, so it didn't sit very well. But we're moving along, and if we continue, we've been fortunate with the funding now with the reservoir portion, so if we continue on the same path that we're on the last couple of years, we'll be on time with the completion of the reservoirs.
Well, Terry, I certainly noted the last several weeks here have been exceptionally rainy, and I've certainly noted that in the past those would be conditions where myself and other homeowners would be looking down at their basements anxiously looking for that water to start coming up. I didn't have any problems, and virtually everybody I spoke to didn't, so it seems like the system already, to the point it has been completed, is working pretty well.
Yeah, the system is working well. We normally would have maybe 5 to 10 reversals to the lake on an annual basis before the first leg of the tunnel went online in 1985. And it's been 4 years since we've gone to the lake. And since that first leg went online in 1985, we've only had 14 in total reversals where we had to go to the lake. This early October, the first week of October, we were 2 inches away from having to divert water to the lake up near Wilmette at our sluice gates up there. So the system is working. We are capturing that combined sewer overflow and polluted water, as well as helping a lot of the basements in the region presently.
Yeah, we did have a much wetter year this year than the previous year.
Yeah, last year was a very dry weather summer. This year it's been unseasonably wet.
So we are way above average this year?
We're close to being, well, we are above, but close to being average. But just that for some reason or other, last summer was just, we had hardly any rain at all.
It was extremely dry, and believe me, my vegetables and grass could tell you.
Yeah, well, I'm not complaining, though, that it was dry.
No, you don't have to worry about the overflow that way. One thing I do want to point out, by the way, when you thanked Jim Nally before for making sure that you're running on a post, for those who don't know, Jim Nally is the person that as an election lawyer, he found problems with the way the Republicans had filed their nominating petitions. Nobody ran in the primary, so they appointed people, and they did it outside the bounds of the law, and Jim's the one that caught it. And if they didn't know enough, frankly, to file legally to get their name on the ballot, I have no objection with them being kicked off.
Well, my feeling is, and, I think if you're going to run, you should go through the process of running through a primary where you have to go out and get signatures to get on the ballot. And, I mean, basically, what was trying to be done, and is done in a lot of races, but for whatever reason that couldn't be done in our race, was that the party leaders would then appoint somebody to fill in on a vacancy on a ballot for the general election. So,
well, I think the whole idea with the primary is that you put yourself in front of the voters, you show them your record, you show them your ideas, and the people then have an opportunity to choose those that they think are best. And certainly you and your running mates on the Democratic side went through that crucible and and ran and went out and visited people and talked about your ideas and got your message out. And it's a little bit different when then a party chooses not to have anybody running and then tries to, meet and appoint people and then not follow the proper rules in doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go through, as you mentioned, Jim. I mean, we've got questionnaires we've got to fill out for various organizations and newspapers. We have to go through endorsement sessions with the same organizations and newspapers. So there's a lot of scrutiny that goes into your candidacy when you're running, and just to be able to throw your name on the ballot, I don't know. I don't think it's proper and right, but that's my opinion.
I won't disagree with you one bit. I also want to thank you very much because for those who don't know that you've got an airplane to catch in a couple hours.
Yeah, I'm headed to Dallas. We have the International Water Environment Federation Conference this week. It started yesterday, and it runs till Wednesday of this week. So we're heading out to O'Hara to catch a plane to see if we can learn bring up some new knowledge and bring it home with us.
No, that'll be good. I know you work very hard at that, and I know also when you talk about funding from Washington, you spend an awful lot of time in Washington, lobbying with our congressional delegations to try to get as much help as possible for us back home.
That's correct. I mean, the congressional delegation has been great with regards to supporting this particular project, from the mayor to the governor to the lieutenant governor to our 2 U.S. senators to the 11 congressmen and congresswomen who districts are impacted by this project. They've been fantastic.
What is your ballot number?
My ballot number is 55.
So whether it's a punch or fill in a circle or
I think they call it
touch
mark
screen
now.
or we mark 55 early and often. No, actually once is fine. Actually, I wish I could do it 3 or 4 times. It doesn't work like that. You can't weight your ballot like you could in the old state rep races.
Well, you can do it 3 times, Avi. Remember Deborah Shore and Patricia Horton and myself.
Oh, those are your running mates. That's true. Okay, well, I want to thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on, Avi.
Of the Water Reclamation District, Terry O'Brien, and I personally urge you, I think Jim will too, to vote for Terry to to vote for Terry come Tuesday, November 7th.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Good luck in Dallas. So anyway, we're off to a rearing start. It's always a pleasure to have President O'Brien on. He just was one of the class guys in politics, Jim.
Well, and you know, one thing you know when you see Terry out there, wherever he goes in the county, people are very receptive to him. I've never heard, and in politics, you know, you're going to hear all sorts of negative things about people in a bipartisan way. I've spoken to Republicans and Democrats and people who consider themselves independents, and anybody who's familiar with his work at the Water Reclamation District has nothing but praise for his professionalism and the way he conducts himself. And I think that's reflective of the way, you know, that the operation works over there and has allowed them to achieve what they have.
No, I don't think there's any question about it. And the fact is that they really are, you know, some government agencies, you wonder what it is they do.
Right. And you know, certainly when you look at it from a fiscal standpoint, you know, they've got the triple crown of AAA ratings on the bonds. Obviously, you know, these investment services scrutinize that very carefully because they're telling people how solid and reliable an organization is that they are seeking to invest money in. And when you've got that triple crown, which, as Terry said, is unheard of throughout the United States, and you know, the fact that this is also an agency that has lowered its tax rate in these particular times when government is desperate for money, I think it's obviously signs of a very well-run and well-managed organization, and that starts at the top with the president. There's
no question. You know, sometimes, too, that when I deal with an agency, you can get a feel for the agency simply by how some of the people, you know, at the agency, like sometimes you get a feel from the very beginning. I mean, sometimes, granted, just somebody answering the phone. But if you walk through an agency or you talk to several people from it, you get a feeling for competence pretty quickly.
Yeah, and, you know, obviously anybody who has any dealings with the agency and any sort of a context with, you know, community meetings and such, they've got trained professional engineers who come out and really know their stuff and talk about these things and in terms of the technicalities, which I or a lot of other people don't understand, but you certainly see the results. As I said, you know, this fall has been a particularly rainy one, and you and I can both remember it wasn't that long ago that we'd be deathly afraid that we'd wake up one morning and find, you know, water seeping in through our basements. And with the particularly rainy season that we've had, it certainly shows, I think, that you know, the tunnel is working and they're working on the reservoirs. I know there's a few more years before those are fully operational, but you know, progress has been made.
One of my favorite phrases that I had in the spring issue of Jewish Chicago with the gentleman whose picture I'm pointing to right now is, you know, taking off on an old thing, is there's going to be a new sheriff in this here town. And right now we're privileged to have the man who's definitely looking like he's going to be the new sheriff in Cook County. And we're talking to Tom Dart. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Avi. How you doing?
Real good, thank you. We've got Jim Nally here with me also today.
Hey, Jim. How you doing?
Morning, Tom. How you doing?
Great. Just, you know, like everybody else, out running all over the county and talking to a lot of people, and also looking forward to 15 days from now.
Yeah, it only is 15. So what are you going from? I imagine you are going from place to place today, quite literally.
Yeah, you know, I started off. I did Fox TV this morning at 8, and then I had to go out to Schaumburg, and I'm just leaving there, and I'm going to a church service now out in the Summit area.
Wow. So I imagine you're going to be all over town. Yeah.
I mean, I got up to Niles after that, and then I'm trying to remember. I've got fundraiser, and then I think the Hellenic voters. I'm going to an event for them tonight as well. So it's going to be a long night, but you know, it's the home stretch here, so you sort of expect that much.
Let's talk real quick about let's look at your qualifications. You are uniquely qualified in many ways to be sheriff, more so than almost anybody on the ballot for a position that they've never been in before.
Yeah, you know, Avi, I appreciate you saying that. It's one of those things where, you know, my background is varied in some respects, and I think it lends itself to this office much more so than you would imagine, because having been a former prosecutor, I've prosecuted criminals, I've conducted investigations in the state's attorney's office. I was then on the legislature where I authored and passed numerous laws, criminal laws, and I was chairman of our prisons while I was down there, and now chief of staff for the last 3 years in the sheriff's office. It's a pretty varied experience. Frankly, it's something you really need for that office.
Well, Tom, I know you've been working very hard and spending a lot of time particularly looking at the jail. And I noticed in this morning's paper that the American Corrections Association has given the jail a 98% approval rating.
Yeah, Jim, we were real excited about it. It's an annual evaluation. It's the highest we've ever gotten, and we were particularly excited because of all the energy and time we put into it. We've really turned some corners over there at the jail, and it's been, honestly, through the hard work of a lot of people. And frankly, I moved my office out there into the jail back in February to have a more hands-on presence there. But it's mostly the people around me that are accomplishing all these things and doing a tremendous job.
And so coming into Election Day, is there so basically just hard work and letting people know your record? Is there anything you really feel like you have to pick up on, or is there anything unexpected you feel coming into the job that you're going to have to deal with? Or
No, I think because of the experience I've had to date, it's all, pretty much in front of me. And to say I'm going to hit the ground running is an understatement. I've been running, large parts of it already. So, it's not going to be much of a change in my day-to-day business. So I'm excited. I am excited, though, just to get the election behind me so I'll have the full authority to get a lot of things done there that I really want to do. And it's nothing terribly unexpected right now.
Well, at this point, much as I like to talk to you longer, I'm getting flash that we have the Secretary of State on the line right now. And
I get trumped by him. He's statewide. I'm only countywide. So you tell Jesse I said hello. But Avi, thank you for letting me on the show again. You have a remarkable show. I enjoy being on there. And Jim, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Tom.
Thank you very much, and good luck. And we'd like to have you on once you're sheriff also.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. And I know that the Secretary of State is going from meeting to meeting. So, Secretary of State White, are you there?
I'm here. You had a wonderful person on a moment ago.
Oh, I'm glad to hear. I know that you're a fan. You like quality people. First of all, I want to tell everybody what a pleasure and privilege it is to have the Honorable Secretary of State Jesse White on the phone, and we thank you so much for calling. That's number one. Your accomplishments throughout the years are just legendary. You're the one elected official that really there's no controversy about you. Everybody just plain likes you. And I want to give you all the credit in the world. It's just terrific. Between the tumblers and between the job you've done, the modernizations, that's what we should talk about because it's near election time. There are so many wonderful modernizations you put into the office. It's unbelievable.
Yes, thank you very much. I'll be glad to be on board. Tom Dart's a good friend of mine, and I just want to applaud him and thank you for a job well done, and I'm just really glad to see him in that position. When I came on board as the Secretary of State, I committed myself then to running the office like it is a business, restoring some integrity to it, and putting it in a posture by which the people could be proud. And brought on a fellow by the name of Jim Burns, former U.S. Attorney from the Northern District of Illinois, who is my Inspector General. And we went to the Illinois General Assembly to have him confirmed so that every Inspector General who will serve with the Secretary of State's office will have to be confirmed by the Senate to make sure that the people know that he is truly their guy in the office of the Secretary of State. We are proud of the fact, too, that we have a program called Pick a Plate, where right now you can go online, www.cyberdriveillinois.com, and you can select the license plate of your choice. And we're glad that that program is up and running. Next year, we'll have a program that will be alive and well, too, called the Kiosk Machine. And within about a 3-minute period of time, while you're out shopping in the mall, in the supermarket, or in the bank, you can get your sticker for your license plate. Right now, we have a program called the ERT, Electronic Transfer of Title, which means that when you go to a dealership, buy an automobile, all the information that the Secretary of State's office will need will be transmitted electronically to the Secretary of State's office, and you'll be able to drive out of the dealership with license plates on your car. Right now, we're hard at work with a new program called the GDL, the Graduated Driver's License Program, where we're requiring parents to spend 50 hours behind the wheel with their young people, and of the 50 hours, 10 of those hours will be done at night. We're proud of the fact that we've held some hearings across the state of Illinois trying to obtain information as to how we can keep our young people safe while driving. in a county called Tazewell County, which is outside of Peoria, Illinois. Within the past 15 months, 15 of our 16-year-olds have died. And across this country of ours, 1,000 young people die each year while driving an automobile. And between the ages of 16 and 17, 7,000 young people die. So it's important for us to make sure that we put these young people in a posture by which they can be a responsible person while driving. And we believe that more education and more experience, we're going to get a better driver.
I think that's absolutely terrific. I know that this morning you're going from church to church on the campaign trail. I would like to thank very much Dave Drucker, who's one of the really fine people in public relations, for helping us out. I do understand right now that, by the way, and we want to thank you for your help with this too, that Alderman Stroger is also on the line, and we're going to be pleased to hear from him. I want to wish you all the luck. What's your ballot number, Mr. Secretary of State?
Number 11.
Number 11 sounds lucky, and you know what? By punching 11, pushing 11, marking 11, however it is this year, I think it'll be a lucky and a good thing for the entire state of Illinois. And I want to urge all of you, and thank you so much for calling, and good luck on the campaign trail.
And give my best to Todd Stroger. He's a great man.
Very good. We sure will. Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary of State.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you. There was Jesse White, and you know what? We're going right from the frying pan into the fire. It is a pleasure and privilege to have the Democratic candidate for president of the Cook County Board, the Alderman of the 8th Ward, Todd Stroger. Alderman Stroger, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm here with co-host Jim Nally. We do appreciate your time. What would you like to tell us about the election? What would you let people know why they should be voting for you Tuesday, November 7th?
Sure. This election is a very important one. I think we have differences between myself and my opponent. I'm someone who's had 15 years experience as a government official, 9 in the state legislature, and 5 as a city councilman. And that's my outside activities. I've been an investment banker for 7 years who dealt with debt for municipalities, school districts, trying to help them solve their problems when it comes to building roads, schools. And right off the bat, you can tell that my Republican opponent has a different philosophy than my Democratic values. I worked for people through my life, equal pay for women, worked on the Safe Neighborhood Act, and I have a true record that I can run on. And my opponent has been talking about what he's done in the county board, and I was just in a meeting with him where he stated he had 25 amendments for the budget, he got only 1 vote, and that was his vote. So I think that shows that he hasn't had any support on that county board, even with his Republican ally. While I've been able to go to Springfield, work with people, get things passed, legislation that meant a lot to a lot of people, and it shows the difference in our style. I know how to work with people, be a good manager. I realize that the county government needs some help. It's an old model. We need to really modernize it, bring in some new technology and automation. We have to streamline some of the departments, and I want to work with the other elected officials so we can make sure that we get this budget where it needs to be, where the county can do its core services without trying to get by and suffer without enough revenue.
Very good. And so basically there's 15 days to go. Is there any special strategy you're using for the campaign right now, or anything in particular you're looking to do to make sure that you get the vote out and people support you?
Well, this race is a little different from all the other ones because I've only been running for a little more than 7 weeks. So I haven't had the opportunity to really lay out what I was going to do, who I was, for a 12-month period or so. So we are trying to make sure that we stay on TV, and we are going to do that. We're on TV already. And once people find out the difference between Todd Stroger and opponents, they will support me. And it's all about making sure that people know who we are.
Alderman, this is Jim Nally. I'd like to first congratulate you on receiving this morning the endorsement of the Chicago Sun-Times.
Thank you.
And I'd be curious, after the election, what would be the priority for you? What would be the first thing you'd like to do upon taking office?
Well, the first priority is to